go ahead and get everyone checked in. So, all right. As I call your name, if you could just unmute and give me your full name and who you're representing here today, whether you're the applicant, the owner, a neighboring property owner, or someone else connected to the project in any way. And so I'll start with Josh Lillis.
Yes, I'm Josh Lillis with Akron Lamites. I'm a character witness for Kimberly Wilbon.
All right. Welcome, Josh. And I see that we have Kelly Shaw.
Hello, I'm Kelly Shaw. I'm the Associate Director of Finley Kitchen, where Kim currently operates her business out of.
Okay. Welcome. Julie Barnett.
Yes, I'm here with my partner, Michael Weiser, and we're both residents of the neighborhood. We live across the street from the property.
Okay. Could you give me your husband's name again?
Michael Weiser, W-I-Z-E-R.
Lizer.
Yeah.
Okay.
With a W. W.
W. Weiser. Yeah. Got it. All right. Thanks. Okay. And then I have someone under Kimberly. Is that person with us?
Can you hear me?
I can. Yes.
Yeah. I am Kimberly Wilbon. I'm Chef Kimberly Wilbon. I am the buyer of the building.
Okay. And
the potential.
Are you able to activate your camera?
Yeah, wait 1 second.
Okay. I'm going to keep checking people in while you do that. So we have Matt Lascheid here from the planning department. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, David.
And then a Crystal McLeod.
Hi, I'm Crystal McLeod. I'm with Sansaloni and Associates. We will be the general contractor that is doing the renovation of the property Kimberly is purchasing.
Got it. Okay. And Alex Gormley. You could unmute.
Yep, Alex Gormley here with Indio, architect for the project, the potential renovation.
Okay. And finally, Candace.
Hi, I'm Candace Holloway. I'm here as a character witness for Kimberly Wilbon.
Okay, great. Looks like we have one more person joining us, then we'll get started. Is Mia Wu here? Hi, if you could unmute. Mia Wu, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. All right. Are you intending on providing any testimony here today?
I just have one question.
Okay. Is Mia Wu your name? Is that correct?
My legal name is Xuewei Wu.
Okay.
XUEWE, I have registered 2 days ago.
Okay. And are you a neighboring property owner or connected to the project in any way?
I am the owner of 1323 Knowlton.
Okay, great, fantastic. I'm just getting everyone checked in right now. We'll get started here in a minute, and you'll have an opportunity to speak if you would like or ask a question. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I need to read through the hearing script. This will just basically cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll jump into it. So this is the August 7th, 2024 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. Again, my name is David Sturkey. I'm the Zoning Hearing Examiner for the city. I'll be presiding over the hearing. Case before us today is case number ZHUV240004. That's 1324 and 1326 Knowlton Street. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any other parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the Zoning Hearing Examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. So this is the opportunity where I'm going to give anyone that's connected to the project either as the applicant, the architect, contractor, or Ms. Wilbon herself, an opportunity to testify. And you all can present that however you would like. One of you can speak, all of you can speak. It's really up to you how you want to orient your presentation. After that's finished, I'll then turn it over to the public. So anyone that's here as a character witness or a neighboring property owner or anyone else that's here will have an opportunity to speak at that time. I'll then hear from Mr. Lashide from the planning department to provide any testimony in addition to his staff report. I'll then turn it back over to the applicant or applicants to respond to any of the testimony that they heard from the public, and then give the applicants an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly. But to the extent there's some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay. Last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So to everyone who intends on providing any testimony, asking any questions, making any comments, really doing anything other than just strictly observing here today, the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So I'm going to collectively do that with everyone that knows that they would like to provide some comments during the hearing. So if that's you, if you could please take yourself off mute now. I'll need everyone to answer out loud and to raise their right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
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 Yes,
Great. All right. Thank you. Kimberly,
I'm having trouble with my camera.
okay. Are you on a computer or phone? Sometimes if you switch to a different device, you can have a little bit more luck.
Yeah, I'll switch to a different device.
Okay. Is there someone else connected to the project that can get us started here while Kimberly is working on her camera?
Crystal, do
I
you
think
want me to just go for it?
Crystal,
Yeah.
Yes, I am here. So the overview of the project, historically it was a bar on the first floor and a residence above that. Kimberly's plan is to turn it into more of like a prep kitchen area. She does work now with a lot of athletes in the city as well as other big families in the city of Cincinnati. So she provides meal prepping for those. She does also do certain private events. You can book private dinners with her and events like that as well. They do not plan to have a liquor license at all on site. So it is not going to go back to like the original use of the bar. It's going to be a little more toned down. The upper portion of the building, she does plan to turn into her private residence. So she does plan to live on the property as well. And it is her goal to bring, more influence to the area to provide healthy options for pickup and things like that. The public will be able to do orders online for pickup. So yeah, her goal is to feed the community with all of her delicious food and use the area as her private residence as well.
Cool.
Kimberly, anything you would like to add?
Quick question
No,
on one thing you said, Ms. McLeod. You said that there will be private parties at this establishment. Is that right?
So there is the potential of them, yes. As part of her service, she does provide like dinner parties or couples parties, and she'll invite them into the space, cook them dinner, and then they leave after that. So it's a pre-planned event that they book.
Gotcha. All right. And how big is the first floor space that will be used for the food prep and private dinners?
Alex, do you have that off the top?
Yeah, here, let me do I share screen? All right. So the basically the entirety of the first floor is going to be converted into use as the prep kitchen / tasting kitchen, I would describe it as. So I don't know if anybody's familiar, but this front room here was where the bar was initially, and then the back area here was more ancillary space, kind of storage areas and bathrooms. So we're upgrading the bathroom facilities to meet the current standards of the code. But the front portion of the space is going to be beautified into a really nice kitchen that's going to be welcoming for people picking up, grabbing and going. And like Krista was saying, like a tasting event or something like that, where people are going to be invited into the space to have like a private dining experience. So in terms of the, I could probably run the calculation. I don't have the number right off of my head, but it's the entirety of the first floor will be the commercial application of this project.
You know, I've looked. This is Michael Weiser. I've looked.
Mr. Weiser, I'm sorry. We're going to give you an opportunity. Just if you would just hold that thought. We need to let the
I
applicants
sort of
finish
know
their
the square footage. I know the square footage. Maybe you don't care, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yep. I'll get to you in just 1 minute. All right. Thanks. That's all the questions I have right now. Mr. Gormley or Ms. Wilbon, did you want to add anything additionally?
No, I just wanted to say that it will be more of a chef's table. It's not like a loud sort of crazy dinner party. So if you're worried about that sort of thing happening in your neighborhood, it will not be. All my clients are well known. So I mean, I just don't worry about anything and that's going to be crazy or I don't know, but I'm going to live upstairs. So I want, my residents to be quiet and safe. And so that's what it'll be. So it's not going to be, trucks, delivery trucks at all hours, so don't worry about that.
Okay. What type of circumstances do you envision for delivery of food and that sort of thing?
Well, deliveries.
I mean, like the wholesale distributors, will there be food trucks coming and going?
No, not coming and going. We get two deliveries. One is from Josh's company and the other one is from What Chefs Wants. And they come around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. And that's it.
Got it. Okay. All right. Any? I'm sorry, folks. My screen froze there. Hopefully you can hear me now. Sorry about that. Ms. Wilbon, anything else you wanted to add?
No, I just want to know what some of the concerns of the neighbors are so we can put their minds at ease.
Okay. All right. We'll get to that momentarily here. Okay. Unless there's anything else from the folks on the applicant team here, I'm going to turn it over to public comment. Let me quickly, we had someone join us late. Let me quickly see if that person would like to offer any testimony here today. Is it Alex?
Hi. Yes, that's me. Neighbors with a couple of these folks. Sorry, I missed the beginning of the part. I'm seeing patients. I'm a physician, but
sure. So before we get into your testimony, could you just give me your full name? Is it Alex?
Yes,
Marco?
It's Alexandra, and then last name is spelled.
Marco Vici?
That is correct.
Okay, great. All right, we will get to your testimony in just a second here, but I'm going to start with Josh Lillis, and then we'll go to Kelly Shaw. Josh, what would you like to tell us?
Yes, thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak here on Kimberly's behalf. So we do work together. I'm with Eckerlin Meats, 6th generation. I've been at the Finley market for a very long time. When Chef Kim came to the market, she brought a lot of talent, a lot of expertise. During the process over the past couple of years, I know that she has no discrepancies, no issues with other vendors within the Finley kitchen and as well as outside the Finley kitchen. So she's a good person. She conducts herself professionally and also proficiently. She is very aware of the neighborhood. I've seen multiple situations where I've seen her deliver food to kids in the neighborhood, which is a very important piece because she knows that she's conducting her business at the market, and she knows what the market is, and she knows what the neighborhood is, and she's concerned with the neighborhood, and she's a part of the neighborhood, which is very important. It's a unique place down there, as well as this location that she could potentially be moving to. So I think those are all very important factors. And like I said, she's very talented. So she's going to bring that expertise, that experience. This is not her first time doing this. She does, and like I said, she's very aware of what she is doing in her part of the community. So there's no negatives to Chef Kimberly and the way she conducts her business, as far as I've seen. So yeah, that's all I have to add. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Lillis. Appreciate your testimony. Okay, moving to Kelly Shaw, and then we'll go to Ms. Barnett and Mr. Weiser.
Hello.
Hi.
So as I said earlier, I'm the Associate Director of Finley Kitchen. So Chef and I see each other 5 days a week. We work very closely together, and Chef Kim, as we call her, is the heart and soul of Finley Kitchen. She's been there since 2016. I've been there since 2022, but not only does she run her business very sharply and with a very intentional mindset, she's very talented and has something really exciting to offer. As Josh said, she really cares about the community that she's in. Those that know anything about Finley know that we work in a very dynamic environment and community every day, and she handles that like a pro. I'm excited for what she could bring to your community being in that space. Just today, she knew I was having a rough morning and she brought me flowers. She's one of the most thoughtful people I know, and you'd be very lucky to have her near you and around you, and especially within your community. We will miss her dearly.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Ms. Shaw. Appreciate your time and your testimony. Okay, I'm going to move on to Julia Barnett and Michael Weiser, and then we'll move to, let's see, Ms. Holloway.
Something you want to start with?
I think Julie and I just have a few questions. Just as an introduction, Julie and I have been here on Knowlton in our house for, I don't know, 8 years or something. And when we moved in across the street, the building that we're talking about was a bar, and it was also the place where there was drugs were being sold, people got shot. It was like a base for the neighborhood gang, and it was just a kind of a dicey corner to live close to. So, we're just kind of protective, and there was undercover police officers there for a year, and Julie and I went to multiple hearings in court to work with the city to get rid of the bar. And in doing so, this corner became a safe place. And, we know also the bar lost its liquor license. And we, really had the experience of when things go wrong in your neighborhood, how really slow and drawn out the process can be to try to make things better. And so that just means that Julie and I bring like a lot of caution to things like this. And, already the vibe couldn't be more different than it was with the bar owner. And, in some ways, the vibe's so good that, I'd look forward to it, but probably Julie and I have a few questions, like concerns that we want to make sure get addressed. And so, for example, we saw the floor plan, and it doesn't look like the dinner parties will be that large. So what's the most number of people will be there for a dinner party? That's one question. Another
Sorry,
question.
did you respond to that? I thought I heard something.
I did.
What did you say? You're on mute. It sounds like 10.
10.
Okay,
10.
thanks.
Okay.
I just wanted to make that clear for the record. Thank you.
Okay. How many days a week will you be having dinner parties?
They will be conducted only on the weekends.
And
Okay.
on
both-
Saturdays.
just on Saturdays?
Correct.
And
It's called the chef's table.
oh, it is. Okay.
Yes, it's the
And
chef's table.
and so pretty much every weekend you might have up to 10 people there for dinner. on
Not
Saturday.
every weekend, every other weekend sometimes.
Okay. All right, cool. I think like maybe the next concern is if there's a variance such that the building can be used for a dinner party, and for whatever reason you choose to sell the building, does that mean that a restaurant could move in there and, these ideas about 10 people only on Saturday, all of a sudden we're living across the street from a restaurant that's open 6 days a week and has 40 people coming and going? You know what I mean? What protects us from you selling the building and it being used as a restaurant?
I'm gonna ask Kimberly, if you don't mind, because this is more of a zoning code sort of legal
Okay.
type question.
Sure.
I'm gonna have the planning department, if Mr. Lashide is able, could you talk about what the impact of a potential approval could be for the property long term?
Absolutely. So the request here is a use variance because the property is zoned residential. They're requesting to use it for a very specific purpose, which is not a permitted use in a residential district. With that approval, the only use that is permitted is the use that's being discussed here today. And that's why there's such a thorough review of it. So the only business that would be allowed to operate here would be Kimberly's business, or I suppose if she sold her business to an operator who would operate the same business, that would be allowed, but a restaurant would be a different use and would not be permitted. Neither would a retail store, a bank, or any other commercial use. It's very strictly limited to this business.
And Matt, let me ask you if there were conditions on the approval that, in terms of, capacity, she said 10 max, would those then also carry on, those restrictions carry on to the next, if there were another food preparation, a business that wanted to open there, carry on to them?
It would, yeah, any approval for this property would be limited to the business that's approved, and any conditions on it would stay with that approval.
Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks, Matt.
All right.
Yeah. I will say it's very encouraging to us that she's going to live in the building. I think that would be a really nice situation for that corner.
Okay. Anything else from Ms. Barnett or Mr. Weiser?
I think that takes care of our main questions and concerns. Yeah.
Oh, I have just one last question. It's not that I don't trust anybody, but if for whatever reason the building starts to be used in ways that are different than the conditions that are put on it, what's the recourse that neighbors can take under those conditions?
Matt, do you want to handle that one again?
Sure. So, we would work with the city's code enforcement department, and it would be a use violation of the zoning code. We'll go through the legal process as anyone else using a property illegally.
And so could you describe the legal process?
Sure. If there's it's not something I deal with every day, but my understanding is that there are fines that are imposed on the property if it's used in a way that is not permitted. Those fines increase if the use continues to operate. They stay with the property, and eventually people could go to court or even jail. I hate to say it, I don't think it would happen, but ultimately the fines and the penalties escalate if the use continues.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know it's like a kind of a rough question, but because we lived across from the bar and it took like 3 years and there's drug dealing and people getting shot, we got a little bit hardened by that process.
Yeah, that's understandable. Hopefully having, a new occupant would improve that experience.
Yes.
Okay.
We hope so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do hope so. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's all we have to say.
Okay. Thank you two both very much for your testimony here today. Ms. Shaw, I'll get back to you in just a minute. I need to give Ms. Holloway Ms. Wu and then Ms. Markovici an opportunity to provide any input, and then I can give you another minute. Ms. Holloway, anything you wanted to say?
Sure. Candace Holloway. I am the owner of Soul Secrets. We were members of Finley Kitchen with Kelly for 6 years. We opened up a restaurant, brick and mortar in OTR. Kimberly was a very intricate piece to mentoring and assisting in opening, the concept of the restaurant, which is we close at 9. We're very respectful of the neighbors that are in the community, as well as, the quietness and, just us putting together a plan of action to just make sure that we are mindful of our neighbors that are in the OTR community. So we're not, we have a full service liquor license, but we're not open past 9. And that was, by way of Kim's instruction and just conversations that we have and just her mentorship in terms of just making sure that everyone in the community is happy collectively. I didn't run a restaurant. I'm not a chef, just a good cook. And she definitely helped us navigate that space in terms of making sure that we were about community, for community. We've done some food drives for schools and feeding and executing. So she's a great person to add to the Northside community in terms of gathering and rallying community. She's all about community, and she's just the most selfless person I know. So I think she would be a great addition to the Northside community. And you guys will be lucky to have her.
Cool. Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Holloway. Appreciate you being here. All right, Ms. Wu, anything you'd like to say?
I think all my questions were answered, and I'm very excited to hear this great opportunity for Kimberly. And then again, thanks for Julie and Mike. I think they did so much work to make this street super safe. And I'm moving last year, and I do feel this street is very safe and it's very quiet. So I live here by myself, and then I definitely hope the new business owner keeps this area safe, because as a single woman, I don't want to have a stranger people look through my windows. And then, and then I trust her to bring the right clients to her business. And then since she lives there, that definitely makes me feel a lot better as well. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for being here. I appreciate your testimony. Ms. Markovici.
Hi, yes, echoing some of what Mia and Julie and Michael said. I mean, I feel like there's such a strong voice. Julie and Michael are in the community, and I am very appreciative of their input. I think, unfortunately, I was a little bit late to the meeting, and my apologies if this was already discussed. I, as somebody who was either going to go down the culinary route or the medical school route, I obviously chose the medical school route, see a great need for the furthering of culinary arts and community. My questions mostly are, I think, a little bit more practical. I don't know if the zoning, number one, if zoning with parking was addressed. Number two, what the use would be for the building apart from residential on days Monday through Sunday apart from Saturday. And then with respect to garbage pickup and cleanliness, as we are a primarily residential area whose houses are directly across, I know that the frequency with which things like traps and garbage is removed can really impact neighbors' quality of life, because I was affected by it living next to a restaurant previously. And I'd also really like to know why you picked this community and what you hope to give to it.
Okay, so several questions in there. I think the first one was related to parking? Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, I can answer that.
Sure. Yeah. Could you, because we're here for two separate pieces of relief in the zoning code. One is a use variance to allow a food preparation use in this building. The other is a variance for the location of the parking lot. They're required to be in. Well, Matt, you go ahead on the parking.
Yeah, you said it. So the parking question, the zoning code does have some parking requirements. Oddly enough, the zoning code was recently updated to allow you to move into an existing building and not need to provide parking. There's also some specific requirements near transit lines, and this property is one of them. But even the Yeah, the property provides parking that would be required. Either it's kind of hard to explain, but yes, the parking.
Well, isn't the
parking
requirement that the
requirement is met.
parking be in the rear of the property, the rear of the building, right? And this is already located on the side of the building, and so
Right.
she
So,
has
yeah.
to get approval to actually, since the use has been abandoned for a certain amount of time,
Thank
she
you,
has to
David.
get approval for it to be in the side yard.
Yes, so the zoning code requires that if there is any parking, it has to be in the rear yard. The intent of that requirement is so that it maintains a more walkable streetscape with buildings or commercial uses right along the sidewalk. And the proposal is to use the side yard for parking. We understand that it has been used that way. The lot is empty, but to receive formal approval to pave it and have a parking area, you would need a variance to locate it in the side yard. Does that answer your question? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. And the other one was related. This might be more for the applicant team, the garbage removal and how that's going to be handled.
You want me to answer that? I don't really know about the garbage. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure that it'll be removed at Alex. Do you know anything about the garbage?
Yeah, I think I might be able to provide some answer here. I'm going to share my screen again just to show the site
Sure.
plan.
Sure.
And what I think we're trying to get at here is basically here.
I think it's food preparation is going to produce more waste than a normal single family home, presumably. So what's the plan to deal with that?
So the proposed parking area is to basically beautify the current vacant lot that's next to the building and utilize that for surface level parking, reuse the existing curb cut that exists on Knowlton Street there. For use, we'll be complying with the zoning code standards of providing a buffer yard via landscaping. So that's an evergreen hedge that's 6 feet tall, more or less, to kind of shield that. And then we'll be tucking the trash enclosure, which is going to be a 6 foot tall privacy fence to hide the dumpster and recycling bins and all that kind of stuff towards the rear of that parking lot. So it's still accessible to roll out cans and all that kind of stuff, or potentially a small dumpster. We haven't really gotten too far with like Rumpke in terms of what the pickup frequency and all that will be, but that's kind of the working assumption. Is basically we're going to do our best to try to shield the location of the trash as much as possible from the neighbors and just the neighboring properties. So
Gotcha. Great. So there will be buffering around the parking lot when the new parking lot is installed, and the refuse areas will be enclosed with fencing as shown in that drawing as well.
Correct.
Okay, great. And then if I'm remembering correctly, I think there was a question about why you chose Northside, and
there was
what
a
you hope to
question,
bring.
specifically about what you like, why Northside coming from like the OTR Findlay area, and what you specifically hope to bring to this community. And then the other part was what's happening on days that aren't Saturday.
Thank you.
Days that aren't Saturday, we are closed, or one of my employees will come in to prep for Monday, so there will be no activity. I didn't choose this building. This building chose me. So I have been, I was well content on looking in over the Rhine, East Wanted Hills, and I always wanted a building, a 2-story building where I could live on the top, and I couldn't find it. And I was perfectly happy to pay a landlord. And I decided I don't want to do that. So I stopped looking, and the building found me. Dominic found it. I walked in and I was like, well, I guess I'm here. I guess I'm home. So I'll just bring a sense of community, great food, a safe place, because I live upstairs. So I live downtown on 4th Street, and I've lived in this building, the Lombardi building, ever since I returned from New York. I've lived in 4 units in this building. So I don't like to move. So I don't know what else to say.
I'm from New York, and I also live downtown by where you were. So
yeah,
just sharing that. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Great. Thank you, Ms. Marcovici. Let's see. I think Kelly Shaw, did you have something quickly you wanted to say?
I just wanted to elaborate to the neighbors that were asking about the parties, because these are things that these are events that Kim's hosting regularly at Finley Kitchen. They're very nice events. You know, she like decks out the space with plants and lights, and she treats her guests with the highest regard. So just wanted to kind of relay that like firsthand experience of what these events are like. They are very nice. They're high end. She is, you know, feeding her clientele. Just to kind of ease some of those thoughts you were having about the bar previously. Everything Chef does is kind of with that level of touch, but especially these events, they are next level. So just wanted to kind of give some input. It's something that we do regularly in our space. Just today, I was talking to our communications team to ask if we can use photos from Chef Kim's events on the Finley Kitchen website because they are so nice. So just wanted to kind of, again, just relay some firsthand experience with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go. I think we'll move on to the planning department. Mr. Lashad, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, so as we discussed, it's a use variance to allow a commercial use in a residential zoning district. The use is classified as food preparation in the zoning code. And then the other item that we are reviewing is a locational variance for the parking lot to allow a parking lot to be in the side yard. Looking at the use variance, this is a pretty uncommon type of review in our office. You have to demonstrate that there's something unusual about the building itself, that it does not accommodate any of the permitted uses in the zoning district. Zoning district being a single family district, generally the permitted uses are limited to single family homes. Some provisions for churches, schools, parks, but it's generally single family homes. The building was built in the late 1800s. The building was built prior to the adoption of the zoning code, and looks like it was built as a corner store. So it's very common in Cincinnati's older neighborhoods, and it's a condition kind of like what the applicant is describing, where oftentimes a business owner ran a market or some sort of professional office or restaurant or food service out of the ground floor and lived above it. The building, seems to have been built for that purpose and does not cater well to being a single family home exclusively. So that's the unusual hardship here, where the building really is best suited for a commercial use on the ground floor. That's what it had previously. And the proposed use is less intense than that. We understand that there were some concerns about traffic, about the number of people, about the noise, and those concerns are valid because they come from lived experience based on what was there previously. And our expectation is that the proposed use is less intense than that and would not cause concerns like that, would not have negative impacts for adjacent property owners. The other piece of relief is related to the location of the parking lot. This is a new requirement in the zoning code that the parking lot be located in the rear. And there's kind of an unusual condition here where the property has had this makeshift informal parking area to the side of it. May not have ever been formally approved, but that's the condition that's already there. And understanding that a business like this does need some parking, it's probably in the best interest of the neighborhood that the business provide parking so that they're not relying on parking, in front of other people's houses on the street or other solutions. So having parking here is kind of what's already existed and is the best solution. So even though it may not strictly meet the rules of the zoning code, that's why we have variances in place so that it can get approved anyway. And there are some requirements for landscaping and screening, both around the parking lot and the dumpster. And we've worked with the applicant team to ensure that those requirements are met with shrubs and evergreens and trees, both around the parking lot and around the dumpster. So there won't be any headlights shining into neighboring properties. You won't be seeing as many cars or hearing the noise, hopefully, but it's a pretty small parking area. People have parking areas of this size for their houses. So I don't envision it being much of a concern. The last thing I want to just make sure that we mention on the record, the properties are 2 separate parcels, and I understand the applicant team is in the process or working towards consolidating those, and our review is based upon that consolidation. So that does need to happen. Those 2 parcels will need to be consolidated.
Okay, thanks a lot, Matt. Appreciate your testimony and your work on the staff report. Going to go back to the applicant team now to respond to anything they've heard from the public, to the extent they haven't already, and make any closing remarks before we adjourn. Anything?
I don't have anything to add.
No, I just wanted to add something about the garbage. My kitchen, we practice a zero waste policy. So we try to use every single thing in our kitchen. If we're chopping broccoli, we take the stalks, we use them. The onion skins we make stock with them. So there won't be a large amounts of garbage. So.
Okay, great, thank you. Unless there's anything else from the applicants, I think we'll leave it at that. As I've reviewed this, and based on the testimony and everything I've heard here today, I am inclined to most likely approve this. For what it's worth, in my prior position in the city law department, I was part of the litigation team that actually helped get the old Knowlton's Tavern shut down. So, and I live in Northside. So I am sensitive to those concerns about the previous use, and I know in vivid detail how bad it got over there. So I want to assure you that is something that is not lost on me as I review this case. I think if this is approved, which again I think it is going to be, I will attach some conditions on maximum occupancy for the dinners. And perhaps some time restrictions as well for when those can take place in accordance with some of the representations I've heard here today. And then of course I will attach, it sounds like this is more of a formality, but that the parcels are consolidated legally at the recorder's office. So as soon as I have a formal decision complete, I will put it in writing. Once I finish that, I put into a PDF and I email it to everybody who's in the hearing here today. So you all have a copy of the decision really just moments after it's complete. That, again, assuming it's approved, that will serve as the document that Mr. Lashai can use on his end to approve the zoning permitting and allow you all to take the next steps on the project. Any questions about any of that?
No.
No.
Okay, great. Well, if anyone has any questions in the meantime, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer anything that you may have going forward, or if anyone would like a status update on the decision, feel free to reach out to me again, and I'm happy to let you know where I am with that. But I think 2 weeks is a realistic estimate based on the current queue of cases that I have now.
Cool.
All right, great. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate everyone's time and testimony. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we are adjourned.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.